Let me begin by asking you a very direct question. Do you believe you'll become wealthy one day? If your honest answer is yes, then another question follows. What are you doing about it right now to make that belief a reality? If your answer is no, then you might want to stick around, because I've got a message for you that could change your perspective. We often hear that only 10% or even less of people ever get truly rich, meaning not just comfortable, but wealthy enough to enjoy the freedoms and opportunities that money can buy. But why is that number so small? Are there hidden secrets only a handful of people know? Or is it about luck, family background, or advanced degrees from fancy schools? Well, the truth might surprise you. In this video, we're going to explore the real reasons why most people never get rich. We'll shine a light on the everyday beliefs, habits, and choices that quietly sabotage our success. Once you recognize these pitfalls, you'll have the power to fix them. And maybe, just maybe, you'll avoid ending up in the 90% who never reach true financial freedom. I want to begin by talking about one of the biggest traps of all, the illusion of someday. Have you ever told yourself, someday I'll start saving, someday I'll invest, someday I'll launch that business idea that's been brewing in my mind for years? Well, someday often becomes never. And that's the first big reason so many people never break out of the cycle of financial struggle. Most folks hold on to the comforting idea that there will be a perfect time to pursue wealth. They wait for that big break, a stroke of luck, or a magical windfall. And sure, a few people might win the lottery or inherit a fortune, but for the vast majority, waiting around for someday is a recipe for disappointment. Wealth rarely shows up uninvited. It usually comes to those who show up first, to those who dig in, get started, and stay consistent long enough to see results. Write down one specific financial goal you've been putting off. It could be building an emergency fund, starting a side hustle, or researching your first investment. Then, commit to taking one small step toward that goal today. No more waiting for someday. Jim Rohn often said, "If you don't design your own life plan, chances are you'll fall into someone else's plan." And guess what they have planned for you? Not much. Wealth building is no different. If you don't have a clear written plan for how you'll earn, save, and invest money, you're leaving your financial future up to chance. And life has a way of pushing us around if we don't set our own course. Why don't people create a plan? Sometimes it's fear. Fear that the plan won't work out. Or fear that you're aiming too high. Other times, it's simply not knowing where to start. But here's a crucial insight. It's better to have a flawed plan you can improve than no plan at all. The wealthy understand this. They set targets, how much they want to earn, what level of investment returns they're aiming for, and what kind of lifestyle they want to maintain. They break these large targets down into smaller, measurable steps, and they track their progress. Meanwhile, the 90% wing it, day after day. Their financial decisions are more reactive than proactive. They get a raise, they immediately inflate their lifestyle. They take on debt without a second thought. They see money in their account, they spend it. No strategy, no vision, no plan. That habit leads straight to mediocrity and financial stagnation. Action step. Sit down and write a simple financial plan. Include concrete goals. I will save X amount per month. I will invest X amount per quarter. Be specific and realistic. Adjust the plan as you learn more, but get it in writing. If you look around our culture, you'll notice it's built around consumption. Everywhere you turn, advertisers are telling you what to buy next. They've got a product for every desire you can imagine. And while enjoying life's comforts isn't inherently wrong, the relentless urge to consume can keep you perpetually broke if you don't learn to balance it with an investor mindset. Those who never get rich typically spend every extra dollar the moment it hits their account. They measure success by what they can buy: the new car, the latest phone, the trendiest clothes. But wealthy individuals think differently. When they have extra cash, they often look to multiply it through investments, whether it's in stocks, bonds, real estate, businesses, or their own education. Instead of asking, "What can I buy next?" they ask, "How can I grow this money so I can afford even more down the line and with less stress?" Action step. The next time you receive extra income, a bonus, a tax refund, or a monetary gift, commit at least a portion of it to investing in assets that could appreciate or produce ongoing income. Practice turning a consumer impulse into an investor habit. Here's a tough one. Many people blame their lack of financial progress on external factors. They blame the government, the economy, their boss, or their family circumstances. Now, it's absolutely true that some people start with more resources or more advantages. But staying stuck in blame mode only ensures you remain financially powerless. If you look at the wealthy, many started from humble beginnings. They refused to see themselves as victims. Instead, they looked for opportunities, solutions, and ways to climb out of their situation. A negative mindset, full of excuses and blame, kills ambition. It convinces you that there's nothing you can do to change your circumstances, and once you believe that, you stop trying. On the other hand, those who eventually escape the 90% category adopt an attitude of ownership. They own their mistakes, their wins, their future. They say, "Okay, here's my situation. It may not be perfect, but I'll do everything in my power to improve it." That shift in thinking transforms them into problem solvers, which is the first step toward wealth creation. Action step. Reflect on your financial situation. Write down all the factors you've been blaming for your lack of progress. Then, for each factor, identify at least one action you can take to move forward. This simple exercise shifts your mindset from blame to responsibility. Let's be honest. Saving or investing isn't always the most exciting choice in the short run. It can be tempting to take that vacation now, rather than putting money into your retirement fund. But wealth building is a marathon, not a sprint. It thrives on patience, consistency, and a focus on long-term outcomes. The biggest reason so many never get rich is that they value today's luxuries over tomorrow's possibilities. They overspend on non-essentials, accumulate credit card debt, and trick themselves into thinking they'll catch up later. But later never comes if you never shift your focus to what truly matters: generating enough assets to provide financial freedom down the line. Meanwhile, the 10% who do get rich often make temporary sacrifices for a future payoff. They might forgo a fancy car lease in their 20s to invest in a new skill or business. They might skip a luxurious vacation to build an emergency fund or invest in a property. Over time, these small but consistent decisions create a foundation that leads to real wealth. Action. Step. Take a look at your monthly expenses. Identify at least one area of spending that provides short-term pleasure but has no long-term benefit. Decide how you can redirect that money into investments or savings that build your future. We live in an age where knowledge is at our fingertips, often at no cost. Yet oddly enough, many people stop actively learning new financial skills after high school or college. They figure, I know how to earn a paycheck. What else do I need? The wealthy, on the other hand, never stop learning. They read books, take courses, attend seminars, and surround themselves with mentors who challenge their thinking. The 90% let themselves get comfortable. They might watch motivational videos on occasion or skim an article about investing, but they don't commit to a steady stream of education that deepens their understanding. Real education, applied over time, becomes a growth engine for your mind and your money. Set aside time each week to learn something new about finance. Read a book on investing, watch a free online lecture, or join a local business meetup. Make continuous learning part of your routine. Knowledge only matters if you apply it. Fear is a formidable barrier. On one hand, we have the fear of failure. What if I invest and lose money? What if my business idea fails? This fear keeps us from ever taking the first step toward wealth creation. On the other hand, there's the more subtle fear of success. If I get wealthy, will my friends treat me differently? Will I become a different person? Some people self-sabotage because they're not comfortable with the changes wealth might bring. Either form of fear leads to inaction, and inaction is the greatest thief of opportunities. Those who do break free from fear usually adopt a growth mindset. I might fail, and if I do, I'll learn from it. If I succeed, I'll adapt to whatever changes come my way. This willingness to experiment, fail, and grow is what separates the 10% from the rest. Write down a financial risk you've been avoiding because of fear. Then, outline the possible outcomes, both good and bad. Acknowledge the worst-case scenario, but also the best case. This rational approach can help diminish the power of fear and spark action. Compounding interest is one of the most powerful forces in finance. Even small amounts, invested consistently over long periods, can grow into significant wealth. Yet, so many people never start. Or they start, then stop. Or they throw in money sporadically. That inconsistency means they never reap the true rewards of compounding. If you talk to the wealthy, you'll hear a common story. They began investing or saving as early as they could, and they continued through the good times and bad. It wasn't about timing the market perfectly. It was about time in the market. They let their gains snowball. Meanwhile, the 90% might wait until their 40s or 50s to start, realize they're behind, then become discouraged or reckless. Action. Step. Start investing now, even if it's just $50 a month in an index fund or a high-yield savings account. Automate it if possible. The key is consistency over time, not massive lump sums. We touched on this when discussing short-term versus long-term thinking, but it's worth emphasizing. Delayed gratification is a cornerstone of wealth building. It's not about never enjoying your money. It's about balancing enjoyment now with security and freedom later. If every bit of extra cash is spent on immediate wants, you're undermining your future. Think of it this way. Each dollar has the potential to work for you if you invest it. But if you spend that dollar on something fleeting, its potential to multiply is lost forever. Wealthy individuals understand this trade-off. They strike a balance between living well today and setting aside enough to let compounding do its magic for tomorrow. Action. Step. Whenever you make a purchase that's purely discretionary, pause and ask yourself, Is this worth more than the potential growth I could get if I invested this money instead? You don't always have to skip the purchase. But this question brings mindfulness to your spending. Human beings are social creatures. Our surroundings, friends, and role models significantly influence our habits. One reason many stay broke is that they have no accountability, no one to challenge them, mentor them, or keep them focused on their financial goals. They might be surrounded by people who also spend carelessly or view wealth building with skepticism. Meanwhile, the successful seek out communities of like-minded individuals. They join masterminds, networking groups, or simply surround themselves with friends who also aim higher. This collective energy and accountability helps them stay on track. It's a lot easier to maintain a saving habit or push through a tough business phase if you have mentors and peers cheering you on, or holding you accountable if you slip. Action step. Consider finding a money buddy or mentor. This person could be a friend, family member, or someone in an online community who has similar goals. Share your financial plans, meet regularly, and hold each other accountable for sticking to those plans. We've just walked through some of the core reasons why 90% of people never get rich. The illusion of someday, lack of a clear plan, the consumer mindset, excuses and blame, short-term gratification, fear, inconsistent learning, not investing early and often, and the absence of accountability. Now that you've heard these reasons, the real question is, are you going to stay in that 90%? Or do you want to join the 10% who create genuine wealth and financial freedom? No one is destined to remain broke. Becoming rich, or at least financially secure, doesn't require an Ivy League education or a multi-million-dollar inheritance. It starts with a change in mindset and habits. It starts with deciding that you won't accept the status quo any longer. It involves creating a plan, taking consistent steps, and regularly learning from your experiences and from those who've walked the path before you. The good news is that anyone can begin this journey. Whether you're 18 or 58, you can choose to change your financial future starting today. Begin by acknowledging where you stand. Outline a simple plan for how you'll earn, save, and invest. Surround yourself with mentors or peers who share your ambition. Keep learning, and most importantly, take action, no matter how small. Even a single step forward can ignite the momentum you need to leave the 90% behind. So, are you in the 90% who never get rich? Or are you willing to do what it takes to join the 10%? Only you can answer that question, and only you can decide which group you truly belong in.